Hello everyone, this is Dark here. So, you guys have been waiting forever for this. And this is the first Spider-Man film I didn't even see in theaters. That's right, I saw all of them. Every single one of them except this. I even, the god-awful Spider-Man 3, I saw that in theaters. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is considered one of the worst Spider-Man films, which I don't think it is, but I'll have to revisit that film in the future and give my opinion on it. I don't remember despising it, though, like I did for this film in Spider-Man 3. If you are a person that likes this movie, I respect your opinion, but people come here for my honest opinion and no bullshit. This movie is an overrated piece of shit. It really is. You're going to really tell me that this fucking movie is better than Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2? Are you fucking serious? Oh my god. How the fuck did this get such high scores on Rotten Tomato? Seriously, how? Shows that Disney's probably paying off those fuckers. Because this is the first movie that Disney has had a hand in when it comes to Spider-Man. Let's see, is Disney's name on this fucking Blu-ray? Probably not. Then again, it's Sony's fault too, probably. And fuck you, Rotten Tomatoes. Seriously. How the fuck is this movie considered better than the other films? How? I don't get it. Spider-Man Homecoming is awful. Never have I watched a Spider-Man film where I've cringed at the atrocious acting. This movie has some of the worst acting I've ever seen in a comic book movie. I'm dead fucking serious. Yes, there's other films that are technically worse than this, but this felt like the Disney Channel version of Spider-Man. This didn't even feel like a Spider-Man movie. It was terrible. Fucking terrible. And it's just a bunch of SJW nonsense. Oh, yes. Somehow, Peter Parker is friends with a bunch of people of different ethnicities. Not that there's a problem with that, but let's be realistic here. It is so forced. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a dose of reality. All you SJWs that live in your safe space, here's reality. Most people, this isn't racist, this is a proven fact, are more likely to be friends with more people of their own ethnicity. That doesn't mean they can't be friends with people that aren't part of their ethnicity, but if you're trying to build something that's believable, can you at least do that? I mean, sure, does changing Mary Jane, or whatever the fuck she's called in this series, to a half-black girl really matter? No, of course not. Who fucking cares? Honestly, at this point, that's the least of the problems. It's just the way they did it, pushing this diversity, it was so forced. It felt unnatural. No one is this friendly with this many people of their own race. I'm not saying this to be racist. I'm saying this because as someone who has experienced it personally, that's right, someone who is actually living in the real world, not this stupid Disney Channel horseshit this movie, pushes. And Michael Keaton, what was his point of being in the movie? He barely even exists. Yes, you find out what his motivations are. You know, later in the film, he's doing all this stuff for his family. Okay. He's still a shit villain. The Vulture. It's like, my God, this is the third Spider-Man film in a row. Wait, a third is... Oh my fucking God. It's the fourth one in a row that we've had a shitty villain. There hasn't been a good villain in this series since Spider-Man 2. What the fuck? It's been over 13 years, and we haven't had a movie that topped Doc Ock or the Green Goblin. The Vulture was terrible as a villain. What was his motivation? Oh, he just wants to steal all this stuff so he can be rich and protect his family. He has no depth. He's just like all the other MCU villains that we've seen so far. And for all you stupid MCU fanboys, it's like, oh, but he's one of the best villains. That's not saying a lot. The MCU villains fucking suck. And he's no exception to this rule. I've never been a big fan of the Vulture, but you're telling me they could not have done more with him? The humor was so awful that I wanted to fucking take the Blu-ray out of my PS4 and toss it across the room. As for first outings of Spider-Man goes, this is the worst. Spider-Man 1 and Amazing Spider-Man 1 are better than this piece of shit. At least they were more entertaining and they weren't boring as fuck. And at least they weren't full of stupid fucking humor this movie keeps interjecting. I am so sick of the fucking Marvel MCU humor they add in their fucking movies. I'm tired of it. It is ridiculous how in every goddamn scene it feels like now in these goddamn movies they have to have a fucking joke. And as for side characters, this movie has to have some of the worst side characters I've ever seen in a comic book movie. Whatever the hell that kid's name was that Peter Parker was friends with, I don't even care to know his name. I don't remember any of the characters' name other than the ones that, like Peter Parker and the Vulture, because I fucking actually I've read the comics, so I only know their names based on that. As a film, this movie sucks. I don't understand how anyone considers this the best Spider-Man movie. When, in actuality, it isn't. It's one of the worst ones. Is it better than Spider-Man 3? Of course it is. It's not fucking saying a lot, though. It really isn't saying much. Any Spider-Man movie is better than Spider-Man 3. Including Amazing Spider-Man 2. This movie was terrible. It really was. It was a complete disservice to the character of Spider-Man. And everything that I know about the character. From the comics, the cartoons, and everything that I've experienced with this character. This movie was a disservice to Spider-Man. Don't get me started on the suit. Why does Spider-Man need a technological suit? Why does he need that? He hasn't had something like that in the comics as far as I remember. Maybe in some incarnations of Spider-Man, but not in anyone I know. I understand they want to do something different, so it stands out from the Amazing Spider-Man films and the Sam Raimi films, but you couldn't seriously have at least kept some aspect of Peter Parker's fucking intelligence intact. This version of the character is a fucking dumbass. We're supposed to buy that this version of Peter Parker is a fucking genius? He's an idiot. He makes so much stupid decisions in this fucking movie that I wanted to fucking, bitch slap him. It wasn't until, like, the scene where Tony Stark basically fucking bitch slaps him, not literally, but takes away the suit, where he actually stops acting like a dumbass, at least not as much. He isn't even Spider-Man in this film until the end of the movie. And no, the suit doesn't just is not the only thing that makes Peter Parker Spider-Man. It's everything else. It's just this movie was terrible. The pacing all around was fucking awful. And if this movie felt like it was 4 hours, not fucking 2 that it actually is. If I had to choose which one's worse, this or Doctor Strange, this is not as bad as Doctor Strange, not by a long shot. I'm as harsh as I am towards this film because I am a Spider-Man fan. Spider-Man's my favorite comic book character. Spider-Man's my favorite Marvel character. And to have a movie this bad after waiting years, you know, for another Spider-Man film, this movie is the reason why Amazing Spider-Man was rebooted. Are you fucking serious? There was so much untapped potential in that series, and now we start another one, anew. I do not care how this movie is received. I don't care. I don't care if this is considered the best movie of the Spider-Man series. It's not. It is not. Watch Spider-Man 2 and tell me it's fucking better than that. It's fucking isn't better than this. Not only does it have a better plot, a better villain, a better cast of characters, it's like this movie is just terrible overall. And Storm's sake, shame on you for fucking saying one thing in one video, then turn around a few days later and say, oh, this film was actually good. No, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you. I'm not going to fucking do that. This film left a bad taste in my mouth. A really bad taste in my mouth. I wanted to like this movie. I fucking did. But this movie sucked. It really fucking sucked. This movie is an overrated piece of garbage. It's one of the worst comic book movies I've seen this year. If not the worst. Wonder Woman's better than this piece of crap. Logan's better. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is better. Don't waste your time with this piece of shit unless you have some friends and you have some beer. I don't recommend this film. If you haven't seen a Spider-Man movie yet, go buy a box set of the original Spider-Man trilogy. It's not that expensive. For cheap. Or of course, you could do this too. Get a box set for these films. These films are more worth your time than Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming was a piece of crap. It does not deserve the name Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man if Disney fucking decided to do a Disney Channel version of it. That's exactly what this movie feels like. Fuck this movie. And for the love of fucking God, hopefully Black Panther doesn't suck. This is Darcenovia, over and out. Fuck this movie. It's not worth anyone's time unless you're a masochist like me. Later.